Welcome to your astrological Saturn return report. This is the Peace Dealer, and I hope to give you the utmost of quality and clarity for this Saturn return. And let me just say right off the bat, first of all, thank you very much for your patience. I really do seriously appreciate you just being very accommodating and waiting for reschedules. So, which is very ironic because Saturn's all about timing and patience anyway. But yeah, nice to see that you're on day 12 of the 33-day ritual. So, looking forward to the mini book you do write. Outside of that, let's see. I want to make sure that I have the right natal chart details. Perfect. So we got January 22, 95, 3:45 p.m. Atlanta, Georgia. Let's get it. So Jesus Christ, bro. I mean, being born 94 and 95 is a very big deal because this very much so speaks of you being in a position to very powerfully, you know what I'm saying, not only have Saturn in Aquarius, but you're bridging in the Pluto Sag generation. And January at 95 was right before Uranus entered Aquarius. We will see Neptune enter Aquarius like around 98. But Pluto, even at 0 degrees, which is technically 30 Scorpio, is still going to be somewhat square your Saturn. And so we have to now incorporate this into, of course, how you're definitively set to return this energy. Saturn returns are now relative to much of your development, the return of your power. Okay. When we think about 28 to 30 year returns, we think of course, for the first 30 years, because the next Saturn return is after this first 30. We speak of course, all the control and mastery of your personal abilities that you've developed over the first 28, 30 years of your development. And it's preparing you accordingly to, over the next 30 years, build your legacy based off of the control, mastery, and return of your powers. Now, there's individual Saturns or individual karma, which means that your lesson and karma is to develop an individual aspect of yourself. Then which is Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer. Then there's social Saturns or social karma. Social karma is Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Saturn, which speaks of you being in a position to develop your work ethic and karma based on the responsibility you have to the social environments around you and the social interactions that build on your character. Then we have collective Saturns or collective karma. Collective karma is some of the most difficult karma to have because it's not just about you, it's about everyone. It's literally being responsible for the collective. So individual karma is a responsibility to your own individual self and how you deal with the collective based on the responsibility you've instilled as an individual, then social karma is your responsibility to the social environments around you. Collective karma is literally your responsibility for the world. Sag, Cap, Aqua, and Pisces. And you have the height of collective karma at Pisces, which now we have to put in context of the other planets, because the last time Saturn was in Pisces was in the 60s and Chiron was there. Now that it's back, Chiron's opposite it. This is a huge narrative. This is a huge story arc that you and your generation, all right, 94, 95, and I think some of 96 is going to close out. 96 is more Aries though. So huge deal, brother. And now we have to take into account the fact that Jupiter and Pluto, not one, but two Titans, or Olympians, if we're going to be specific, because Saturn's the Titan who gave birth to these Olympians. I mean, he literally tried to eat those children, but let's not go into too much about backstories. They're literally fighting Saturn here again. So we're going to take a narrative at birth that you're finally coming to own and make your bitch. I'm gonna just be real. You're going to make the Sagittarius energy your B. Excuse my language. So this is even greater because you carry the vibration of, you know, just knowledge or balanced knowledge as a super celestial. And this is going to proceed after Saturn and Jupiter go over your sun. So you're coming into, so this is very important because it's a Cancer rising. You've gone through 6 hardcore years of Jupiter development, from Jupiter in Cancer to now Jupiter in Capricorn. This represents stretching out your personality and evolving this into your ability to take the evolved nature of your character and express and flesh this out to how incredibly you can partner with people. This is going to deal into transforming how you can deal with others. And this is what with Saturn that's gone through has mastered this Southern Hemisphere dynamic of not only structuring your life, now coming out into this MC, but getting ready to now push this narrative out of the 7th house and now into the 9th, 10th, where you're taking this lifelong development of who you are and your character and now bringing it out to the world over the next decade. This is where now the Sagittarius Pisces square is a perceptual clash where you're dealing with outside opinions of people who may even be jealous of you or just, you know, definitely just have problems controlling their weak ass emotions around you, and having to not only deal with such perceptions, but put them in their place accordingly. This is what I mean also by saying making it your bitch, because up until this point, being an 8th houser, being someone that has to deal directly with others, you are receptive to facets of their character outside or in integrity and purity. So you get the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is now where, with the return of your power, you can enforce authority to set straight whoever you have to deal with. It's something you already do, which is very amazing. But now this is going to return your power in an effort to do so. Facets that might have left you open and vulnerable to, you know, losers or people who disrespect your boundaries and disrespect you, they're going to get penalties. Oh, and this is going to be bad. Like, you don't have all the full power and authority to do this. So, you know, you just have to clear up a little bit more BS. But that Saturn return is going to be glorious for you. Just making sure we're clear. And what's super important about that is that so much about how you personally tap into this has everything to do, of course, with the house that it's in. For example, Saturn falls in my 8th, but it is ruled by the 9th house. It is the 9th house ruler. Whereas for you, Saturn is Lord 7. Lord 7 falls into your ninth house, the Lord of your seventh house. So once again, something to do with air signs. There's a demonic negativity that is irrational to kind of understand, because just by breathing, you're going to irk some people off the wrong way. Like there's some people who think you shouldn't exist, which once again is irrational. Like it's nothing you should try and make logical sense of. They're demonically possessed. Like this is or you can say they're mentally ill. But I like to use the term demonically possessed because that's so you like an exorcist are going to deal with these fools and exorcise them, which is a fancy way of saying kill them. Deliverance is more, taking them the demonic influence away. But if they hold on to it, you got a license to kill, bro. And that's what you want to see Saturn as too. And the ruler of your ninth house, where Saturn is in the seventh. So this is important, because a lot of how you really manifest this collective karma is based on the intuitive receptivity that allows you directly to partner with other people. And as a Cancer rising, really sense the integrity of their character based on what you psychically draw from them. So this 7th, 8th, and 9th house collective energy speaks about how you deal with the world around you, because you're super powerful, bro. You're already a celestial, right? You're already stepping into ascended mastery. As a progressed Aqua Sun, you're going to progress on your Saturn. So everything about your Saturn return is meant to not only establish your legacy, but the purpose of a Saturn return is to activate one's authority. Once again, I have to really emphasize, given the nature of these energies and perceptual clashes, don't take personal, and this is something that both you and I very close, because we're air signs, and we're not just air signs, we're super air signs. We're air signs that are bestowed supernatural ability based on our sun. So more than any other element, you can't take personally attacks at your character, because we're literally above it all. Like we are above it all. We're air. Air is above it all. Like literally, if you look up, it's all air, right? So this can make us come off as if we're better than others or know it all. First of all, we do know it all. So anyone who hates, they can shut the fuck up. We actually do know it all. And this comes from hard work and actually, knowing us. Second of all, we actually are above it all. So if people get this air that we kind of see ourselves as higher, it's because, bitch, we are. Okay? So, like, if you got a problem with that, they can kiss your Aquarius sun ring. Okay? Like, if they could kiss the Mercury on it. Like, there's the jealousy plays no weight when people have to play their parts. And so you're dealing with that facet of people feeling like, some people might make you out to feel like you have white privilege or entitlement, when no, you just you a cosmic king, and you high priest. Like any privilege you gained, you work for. Trust me, it's nothing that was given to you. You know how to deal with these social dynamics within people to show people more realistic stuff. Anyway, with that Chiron and Virgo, they may not like the way you reality check them with facts. Okay, so outside of that, you want to be you can't take personal attacks at your character, because they're not attacking you. Attacking you is like taking a bullet and shooting it in the air. It's not going to reach you, right? They're attacking what they represent and what they project on you with their insecurity. So because at some level they're intimidated, okay, this is going to deal with an essence of people trying to get at your self-esteem so that they can mess with your head. It's just, you have such a strong mind, both of us. People don't know how stupid they're being when doing this. And the reason why I'm using this language that's very combative and you versus the worldly is because that's the current transits. Like, that's 8th house energy. You're dealing with other people. And so more often than not, it's rare to find people who have fucking sense and aren't fucking stupid. My apologies. So, you're just going to have to deal with that. But outside of that, you're clearing this. That we're entering an awakening of humanity where you might not have to deal with this as much, thank God. So this is important because now we know that Saturn activates your authority. While I receive my Saturn return, I graduated college, 9th house, okay? We both have 9th house Saturns. So higher education is delayed. If you found, and dude, you don't even need a college education, but like if you found that graduating has been delayed or getting into graduate school has been delayed or your relationship with your father, it's supposed to be. that this is what you signed up for. And it has much to do with now you mastering, because Saturn return means what you're mastering. You're becoming an authority on metaphysics, the unseen, divine magic, the holistic collective that takes the parts of the whole and sees perceptually how they're all connected. This is what you have the mastery and authority to teach, counsel, and advise. Because in the 9th house, that's the house of the the consultant, the advisor, the religious expert. Okay. This is very key here, because how we make sense of this relative to 95, Saturn in Pisces is not Saturn in Pisces. Saturn in Pisces in 95 is not Saturn in Pisces in 63 or 67 or 66. Okay. This Saturn Pisces, all Saturn groups have an essence of shared power. So for Saturn in Capricorn, the power we all awoken was authority. For Saturn in Aquarius, the power that they awoken was universal manipulation. Saturn in Pisces, textbook reality warping, my friend, through imagination. This is the authority to warp reality and manipulate existence. This is huge. Do you now see why this is a collective karma? It's not, see, individual karma, you can fuck up. Like you can abuse individual karma because the responsibility will be taken individually. But if you screw up collective karma, let me use an example of this. Barack Obama, he has Saturn in Capricorn. He's going through a Saturn return right now. And he's going through Obamagate. So his abuse of collective karma, it's not just a slap on the wrist. Although he can get away with stuff with his power because it's in his 12th, it carries the highest consequences, because you're now manipulating energy at a high level that affects other people. So when he embezzles, housing funds, and instead of using the money for the housing committee, uses it to split between him and his friends, you see now how that screws up the collective because he's not being responsible. And I'm sorry, I don't want to make this a Obama bashing thing, but I find him fascinating because he has one of the dopest charts, and to see how he's actually abusing authority, and seeing how that's going to come back in a Saturn return makes the whole Saturn return thing very serious. Okay, we see this with Ghislaine Maxwell. She's a Capricorn having a Saturn return, and she's in fucking prison because she did not live with integrity. So this is no fucking joke, my friend. Like, I respect anyone that gets a Saturn return, because it's not a lot of people get it, but it lets me know that you serious. Okay, so let me tell you something, my friend. Like, Saturn returns are legit. A lot of people talk about, oh, it's stressful, it's bad. That's because they need to grow a pair. Saturn returns are for the serious minded who are ready to take over the world. And because your Saturn is next to your MC, this is proof that your authority is going to allow you to gain authority and power in a collective world setting, because the MC is your legacy. You're meant to master your legacy. Once again, in the 9th house, in the 8th house, it's like dealing with others. In the 9th, it's teaching. In the 10th, it's being a public figure. In the 11th, it's a community leader. You can be a dean with this energy because of the authority of Saturn in the 9th, allowing you to now call the shots when it comes from teaching. If you were just Jupiter here in the 9th with MC, it'll make you an amazing adventurer. If you're a Mercury here in the 9th, it'll make you like, your shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're very analytical and precise with the way you teach. But it's Saturn. This is full authority. You have full authority to teach what you're teaching. You know why this is important? If other people come in this field of Pisces and they don't have Saturn in Pisces, tell their bitch asses to sit down. Be like, excuse me, do you have the badge? Because Saturn is your badge. Saturn is the police badge. It's like, hey, here's my certification, ho. Like, I can do this. Like, I do this. Okay, so this speaks of the genius and divine nature of mastery that you're stepping into. Now that we look at the square to Sagittarius, this is what's going to frustrate the change in behavior necessary with the extreme nature of Pluto here to facilitate these divine beliefs. You have a belief dependent physiology, because your moon, your rising sign, the decant that this 9th house is connects to your rising. So Saturn connects to your identity, and your physiology is like a shapeshifter depending on what you believe. It is also because of this visualization of your lifestyle in the 6th and imagination of beliefs in the 9th that causes you to be able to literally warp your reality with the strength of Aquarius to pull it off. Otherwise, you might go crazy. But now Mercury and Sun allows you to keep your mental capacity as reality warps around you. In fact, a lot of people warp reality. They're just not noticing of it. And normally it will drive you crazy because, and that's why a lot of people can't warp reality, because you're not just changing the reality around you. When you change the reality around you, it's your mind that processes this change that won't always be able to compute the logic or linear logic between moments changing. And this can induce psychosis and craziness. It's usually Mercury's in fixed signs that have the strength of quality to not go fucking crazy. Okay, which is like, because it's crazy. Like, you're warping reality, bro. So this is one of the main superpowers you're going to step into, and your ability to manifest unseen dynamics into reality through your knowledge of it as an Aquarius. Now, if we look at this cycle, now everything I spoke of were the conditions of your Saturn return. Now let's talk about how my Saturn return in Capricorn initiated the apocalypse, and your Saturn return initiates the beginning of the end. First stage of the apocalypse is Saturn Aqua. Next stage of the apocalypse is Saturn Aqua. Last stage of the Saturn Cap. Sorry, first stage Saturn Cap. Second stage Saturn Aqua. Last stage, where the Holy Grail War comes in, is Saturn Pisces. See, 2021 to 2023 is wartime. And people don't even know we're 6 months away from full-on war all over the world. Then, after this first war, Guild Wars, that's going to weed out the weak. So, the conditions of the actual Saturn return and the transits that are going to lead into it are ridiculous, dude. Once again, Saturn and Cap started the apocalypse. Saturn in Aqua sustains it, and then Saturn in Pisces is going to conclude this cycle. And the purpose of the apocalypse was end of age. We're entering into the new age, 2025, 2027, once Uranus goes into Gemini and the 3 pillars of light, Pluto into Aqua, Neptune into Aries, and Uranus into Gemini are complete. And you have a direct part in this. And so this is where one of the most fascinating aspects in astrology I will ever see has everything to do with your Saturn group. And as you can see, at the end of the Pisces cycle in 2023, when Saturn's at the end of Aquarius, we're going to see Saturn move into Pisces. Boom. Then we're going to see, you see the moon there? See the moon coming up on Sag? This is ridiculous. I've never seen anything like this. Boom. So we see the moon come out of its balsamic phase, go over Saturn, okay, end the cycle in Pisces. This is insane, dude. This is insane. And then boom, new moon in Aries, okay, Saturn's in Pisces, boom, Pluto in Aquarius. Whoop! That is how y'all Saturn return starts. That right there, my friend, March 23, 2023, is the beginning of the end. If you think based on everything we're experiencing now, none of the social energies are active, and we're socially distanced. So right now we're seeing the end of our system in front of our eyes. This is where this completion will be literally at an end, and we'll struggle to maintain law and order during this period where everything we know as far as a system is transforming. This is where America is stepping into the next facet of its new Pluto cycle. And other worlds may have to now entertain disbanding in order to become one world government. And so we may very well see the New World Order come to pass during a Saturn return, bro. This shit's retarded, man. So we now see that, of course, your Saturn return is going to be the second decade. So 2023 to 2025 is your whole Saturn return. You're going to complete this Saturn return, come into 2024. And let me not say complete. You're going to step into this part of your Saturn return February. Wow, look, from the 21st. Okay, it moves a degree very quickly. Saturn moves through Pisces very quickly. So, bam, the 28th is not only when you're going to have your Saturn return, but the sun is also going to be on there with Mercury. So that's very significant. Okay, it's going to be specific like March 1st. But as we can see, you're going to initially step into this with the sun and Mercury. That's a blessing. And not only is it a blessing, it's giving you empowerment with the sun and processing of awareness with how you're establishing this relative to now Venus and Mars, which are conjunct again in Aquarius, and Chiron, that's going to be on the North Node. Jupiter by then will be out of Aries into Taurus. And so as conditions of this is going to be fleshing powerfully with the North Node that we're going to see in Aries now, in your 10th house, establishing the physical environment outside of yourself of the career needed so that you can become this authority. Remember, in the 9th house, it's very much so an ascension as well. So this is where you come into the initial completion of the Saturn return. And then moving forward, we see it going forward at 13. We are going to see this retrograde at 19 degrees. It's going to go back and boom. So 2024, you're done, bro. If we go back to March, boom. You completed March. And this is where moving forward, now you're establishing your authority. And then into 2025, boom. This goes over Neptune and bam. Huge. Then it's going to retrograde back into Pisces. And then boom. End of 2025, moving into 2026. This is ready to move into Aries. Uranus is ready to go into Gemini, baby. So Pluto's going to be in Aqua, which is the most key thing about this. Okay. The reason why we want to now bring in Pluto Aqua is while you have your Saturn return, Pluto's going to be awakening your spirit. So the main purpose of your Saturn return is to awaken your spirit. And now the Aquarius Sun spiritual awakening is analogous to, I want you to think of Chronicle. I want you to think of Aquarius's awakening is going to bring in the dawn of the new age. The new age of Aquarius kicks off Pluto Aqua. Everything is just preparing for it. So this is where all Aquarians all over the world will awaken their super god cosmic abilities. Imagine if you had all the abilities fleshed out to your own unique nature. You're awakening that. And 2 degrees means you're the vanguard of starting this awakening. And that's going to flesh in your authority to what you're going to be teaching. So it's not a coincidence that Pluto rules the 8th and this is going to happen in your 8th. Intense transformation. You're returning your power to facilitate this spiritual awakening and transformation as a Cancer rising especially. And this is what's going to, during this period, Saturn in Pisces is meant to prepare the world for this new age of Aquarius, where Saturn is in Aries with Neptune, and we shift gears on how we process and deal with extra dimensional energy. Given the 90s generation fully awakening their abilities so we can take over this bitch. Because we're about to take over the whole world. 90s kids are going to single-handedly destroy everything. And then late 90s into I swear to God, bro. 90s kids are going to destroy everything. And then 95 and beyond, y'all are going to create everything that was destroyed. Because everything that's not in purity, we're going to destroy. It's like a huge reboot. And then y'all are going to create the new world. That's why you having 0 degrees is a bridge. You're one of the most important characters in this because you facilitate that transition into the creation of the new world. My North Node's Aquarius, so I'm here to honor and I look up to y'all. Okay, thank you so much for investing in me. It's amazing to go through what you have to go through because a lot of it is unspoken, and so I am seriously honored to serve you like this, dude. And I really, really hope this Saturn return speaks to you. I didn't want to bring too much specifics into transits. Given that Pisces is more abstract, I just wanted to give you a conceptual idea of what's going to happen. But, closer to this time, I'd advise you get a consultation, and then we can actually break it down real time with the transits. You stay blessed as always, and until next time, peace.